If you're a third-rate sorcerer in Sorcery Roblox, then you know exactly how frustrating it can be when your cursed technique just isn't cutting it, especially when you're stuck with a weak CT and no rerolls to save you. Let's face it, you can't rely on pure luck forever, right? So until you unlock something like Limitless or Shrine, it might actually be smarter to pick a CT that's easier to get and still gets the job done. You want something that's solid, reliable, and won't let you down in the heat of battle. But how do you know which CTs are worth sticking with and which ones are better left behind? Well, that's what we're here for. In today's video, we're diving into a definitive tier list of the cursed techniques in Sorcery Roblox. We'll talk about which ones are top tier, which ones are a bit too weak for your time, and why you should make some strategic picks as you level up your sorcerer. Trust me, it'll make all the difference when you're out there fighting your way through tough opponents. Let's jump right in. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking cursed techniques in Sorcery. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. The cursed techniques in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Boogie Woogie. Alright, let's talk about one of the most misunderstood cursed techniques in Sorcery, Boogie Woogie. Now I know what you're thinking. Why does it sound so fun but feel so underwhelming? Well, Toto's Boogie Woogie might look cool on paper, with its ability to swap places with another player, but when you're playing solo, it feels pretty useless. Imagine trying to get a strategic advantage by swapping positions in a 1v1 scenario, only to realize it's pretty much just a flashy move that doesn't help much when you're going solo. It's like trying to use a dance move in a fight where the only person you're dancing with is yourself. But hey, if you've got a friend in the game, this technique becomes a whole different beast. You can pull off some insane strategies with that player, swapping spots to throw off your opponents or avoid damage. It's all about the teamwork, and when you've got that duo, Boogie Woogie might just turn the tables in your favor. On your own though, not so much. So if you're flying solo, you might want to look elsewhere for a cursed technique that actually gives you a fighting chance. The cursed techniques in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Projection Sorcery and Cursed Speech. Alright, let's dive into some of the more interesting B-tier cursed techniques in Roblox Sorcery and see how they stack up against the competition. First up, we've got Projection Sorcery. Now, this one is a bit of a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's a total game changer if you're up against players who are just starting out. Why? Because it freezes your opponent in place, giving you a free shot to unleash a full combo. Basically, it's a freebie to deal some solid damage without any resistance. But here's the catch. Once you start running into more experienced players who know how to counter this, it starts to lose its charm. Most other cursed techniques have ways to break out of it or simply avoid it altogether, so while it can be super OP in the right situations, it definitely has its limitations. Next up, we've got Cursed Speech. Now, this one is kind of like a utility belt packed with tricks, but here's the thing. It's only as good as the player using it. Cursed Speech has 3 different moves that can all be useful depending on the situation. You've got a variety of options to mess with your opponent, but here's the real kicker. If your opponent knows what they're doing, this technique can become completely useless. For instance, if they're smart enough to avoid standing near ledges or playing around the range of your moves, then you're basically left with nothing. It's a risky pick because while it sounds versatile on paper, it's all about who you're facing and how well they can counter your every move. Now, while these techniques aren't exactly the top tier picks, they each bring their own flavor to the game. Projection Sorcery might not be the most reliable against seasoned players, but against newbies, you're probably going to rack up some easy wins. As for Cursed Speech, it's definitely more situational, but if you're able to catch your opponent off guard, it's a pretty solid tool to have in your arsenal. So, it's not the flashiest or most powerful, but with the right strategy, you can definitely make it work. In the end, B-tier cursed techniques like these are all about how well you know the game and how you play the cards you're dealt. While they may not hold up to the S or A-tier CTs in raw power, they have their moments. It's just a matter of figuring out the right matchups and understanding when to pull them out. Whether you're freezing opponents in place or speaking some cursed words to control the battlefield, there's fun to be had with these techniques if you play smart. The cursed techniques in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Idol Transfiguration, Disaster Flames, Mimicry, Mythical Beast Amber, and Blood Manipulation. Alright, let's dive into the A-tier cursed techniques in Roblox Sorcery. The ones that really make you feel like you're summoning some serious power. Whether you're fighting multiple enemies at once or pulling off jaw-dropping combos, These techniques can turn the tide of battle in your favor. But, as with any good sorcery, there are some tricks and traps to keep in mind. So, let's get into it. First up, let's talk about Idle Transfiguration. This one's all about speed and mobility. Thanks to the Soul Blades, they give you some serious agility. The combos are super easy to land and you can zip around the map, which is honestly a lot of fun. But here's the catch. It doesn't have the longest range, and if you're not careful with your Soul Blade usage, you might find yourself in a pretty tough spot. Use them wisely or you could end up exposed, and that's never good. Next, we've got Disaster Flames. Now, this one really shines when you're up against multiple opponents. The area of effect moves can handle several enemies at once, which can be a game changer in crowded battles. However, there's a little problem here. Most of your attacks knock opponents back. This can mess with your combos and make it tricky to land those devastating follow-ups. It's great for crowd control, but it requires a bit more finesse to really pull off. Moving on to Mimicry. At first, this technique can feel kinda meh. You unlock it and you're like, okay, cool, but what now? But once you unlock all 4 of your move slots, it becomes a completely different story. The key to mastering Mimicry is learning how to make the most out of the random moves you get. This takes a lot of practice, but once you get the hang of it, you can put together some pretty unpredictable combos that can leave your opponents guessing. Definitely worth the grind. Now, let's talk about one of the most fun techniques in the game, Mythical Beast Amber. This one is a blast to use. The combos are straightforward and the damage is solid across the board. But here's the twist. When you're using the Lightning Lance, you can't lock your camera. This can throw a lot of players off because it's not what you'd expect when you're trying to aim at a target. Still, once you get used to the free-form nature of the technique, it can be incredibly satisfying to see your opponent crumble under the pressure. Then there's Blood Manipulation. This technique is one of those that gives you serious potential for damage output, especially with the Piercing Exorcism. The range and damage on that move are insane, making it a perfect zoning tool to keep enemies at a distance. But, and it's a big but, Blood Manipulation can drain your cursed energy pretty quickly. You'll need to be mindful of your resources, or you might end up out of energy before you can finish the fight. Missing your skills is a fast track to defeat, so make sure you're precise with those moves. Each of these techniques has its own unique flair and strategy. The key is learning how to balance their strengths and weaknesses, making the most of what they offer while minimizing their downsides. The A-tier curse techniques in Roblox Sorcery really reward practice and smart decision-making. With the right approach, you can dominate your opponents and make sure they know exactly who's in charge. But hey, don't just take my word for it, try them out yourself and see which one fits your playstyle the best. Whether you're looking for mobility, AoE destruction, or crazy combos, there's something here for every type of player. And of course, the more you play, the better you'll get at mastering these techniques. The real fun starts when you've got all the moves under your belt, so keep practicing and experimenting with different combos. So, what's your favorite A-tier technique? Are you all about that mobility with Idle Transfiguration, or do you prefer to unleash chaos with Disaster Flames? Let me know in the comments below, and keep enjoying the madness of Roblox Sorcery. The curse techniques in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Shrine, Limitless, and Golden Ratio. Alright, let's get into some of the most insane curse techniques in Sorcery. If you're looking to dominate your opponents, these are the ones that'll take you to the top. Forget about all the other techniques because these S-tier curse techniques are the real game changers. First up, we've got the Shrine technique. Seriously, this is probably the most overpowered curse technique in the entire game. We're talking about massive damage, incredible range, and AoE, area of effect, that hits everything in sight. There's no downside to this one. No weaknesses, no gimmicks, just pure power. It's practically a must-have for anyone serious about building the best character in Sorcery. Whether you're battling solo or facing off against multiple enemies, Shrine makes sure you're the last one standing. Then there's Limitless. If Shrine is the king, Limitless is the emperor of curse techniques. With insane damage output and a ridiculous range, this one's all about taking out multiple foes with almost zero effort. The best part? You don't need much skill to pull it off. I mean, you literally just point and shoot, and your enemies are done for. Plus, most of the skills that come with Limitless are AoE too, making it even easier to obliterate groups of enemies. It's simple, it's powerful, and it's a solid contender for the best curse technique in the game right alongside Shrine. Now, let's talk about Golden Ratio. If you're a fan of high damage and chaining moves together, this curse technique will blow your mind. The raw damage that comes with Golden Ratio is absolutely insane. We're talking about combos that can go from 100 to 0 in the blink of an eye, and it's not just a rare thing. This happens all the time. If you're skilled enough to pull off these chains, your opponents won't stand a chance. The only catch here is you'll need to use a weapon to really make it work, but trust me, it's totally worth it. Golden Ratio's combo potential is what really sets it apart. Once you get into the rhythm of chaining your moves, it's like you're just wrecking through enemies with no effort at all. And let's be real, who doesn't love pulling off a sick combo and watching your enemies drop like flies? This is the curse technique that rewards precision, timing, and of course, some serious skill. The best part about all three of these curse techniques, they all cater to different playstyles. Whether you're someone who wants the all-around dominance of Shrine, the easy but lethal power of Limitless, or the skillful high-damage gameplay of Golden Ratio, these S-tier curse techniques will elevate your game to a whole new level. The game's pretty much your playground with these in your arsenal. So, what are you waiting for? If you're not already using one of these curse techniques, you're missing out big time. They've got everything you need: raw power, crazy combos, and a whole lot of fun. Get out there and start wrecking some havoc, because these S-tier curse techniques are what will make you unstoppable. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.